Steven, could 100 Dylan Brooks take down one Jimmy Butler?
Not if his life depended on it. Or his lives.
But you're putting probably in favor of Dylan Brooks succeeding.
No.
Even 100 Dylan Brooks?
Even with a deep gluteal muscle contusion in the Jimmy Butler, those 100 Dylan Brooks could not beat him, no.
I would agree with you. I think that one Jimmy Butler could beat 100 frauds. And just to get to the main...
They would run away crying.
Exactly. And just to get to the main debate that people are having on social media, what do you make of this? 100 men versus one gorilla. Who's winning?
100 men is winning. Like, it's a stupid debate. 100 men are winning. It's 100
I go the other
men.
way, man. I go the other way. It's one big-ass gorilla, though.
Yeah, 100 men. 100. I think it could take it down.
Okay, but
they can take it down.
All 100 men are not coming at this gorilla at once. And what exactly are you doing? You don't have any weapons, so you're just gonna try to like punch your way through a gorilla who's super strong, could pick you up, crush your skull, rip your dick off. I mean, come on, we're talking about like this gorilla could rip you like a phone book. I kept saying phone booth today, but he also could take down a phone booth if he wanted to.
How do you think these gorillas get put into a zoo? It's because men end up taking them down, or females. 100 men would do it. I absolutely think so. I'm not trying to diminish how strong a silverback gorilla is. Believe me, I understand how strong they are, but it's 100 men. I think it's a stupid debate.
Okay, but how many men are getting killed in the process?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
So you got that, but it's 100.
I think it's death by like 1,000 paper cuts, where by the 100th man, he's dead, and the gorilla's standing strong, but he's breathing tough, and he slowly dies.
Yeah. Or if they had like 100 versions of us where we, instead of choosing violence, we tried to crack a joke and make the gorilla laugh or something.
I think our laughter could kill the gorilla with kindness.
You think so?
I think so.
I think I'd be coming in with just like a drop kick. I'd just be running and then do a little kung pao soccer, whatever that movie was, Shaolin soccer, a little pow, right into the face.
You think you're capable of that?
Absolutely.
Okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We're talking gorillas and 100 men, but mainly we're going to talk basketball tonight. As the Warriors are up 3-1 over the Houston Rockets. We'll also talk about something I got very, very wrong. George Kittle ended up signing his contract extension, is going to stay with the 49ers, possibly for the rest of his career. We'll also talk about Bill Belichick's interview on CBS. Something's going on there with his girlfriend. It's getting weird.
Yeah.
Along with Derek Carr calling out the media, saying that he's actually got a shoulder injury. And Steven wants to get to who could possibly replace the Pope in the sports world.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I apologize, AJ Cruz. I told AJ Cruz we were having a whole segment today on Dirty Work about Dylan Brooks and how much we hate him. And I wanted people to call in and give their unbridled hate. So I reached out to Rock a New Era to get a hold of AJ Cruz and do his usual his impression of is it Dusty Rhodes? Dusty Rhodes doing the
Mexican-American Dream.
Yeah, Mexican-American Dream. And listen here, Daddy, I'm gonna slap you with a tortilla under the way. And he gave solid 2 minutes on Dylan Brooks. And, you know, usual copes. Wasn't digging it. Wasn't digging much of today's show, to be completely honest. He was kind of crapping on a lot of things Tim was doing, I was doing. So don't take too offense to it, AJ Cruz. As AJ Cruz says here, Derek making me mad, begging for my help in securing the Dream services, then cutting me off mid-promo. Copes is another one. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dream took his talents to South Beach. I don't know what the hell that means, but I apologize on behalf of Adam Copeland, AJ Cruz.
I think he absolutely should take his talents to South Beach or to Minnesota. I think you need to have the Mexican-American Dream infiltrate opposing radio stations. Maybe have him call into Houston.
Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be really good, actually.
Yeah, because Houston is in shambles right now. I haven't. I listened to a segment on their radio that was posted to Awful Announcing, and the one of the hosts just can't stand them. And I also listened to Locked On Rockets. I listened to the post game podcast today. They are just done. They feel like the series is over. They feel like lives are over. They hate the Warriors. It's so fun to listen to.
Well, can you imagine from their perspective where it's like they thought they had a championship team with James Harden and Chris Paul, and then Daryl Morey making proclamations every year being like, we've done enough this offseason to beat the Warriors. We're always focused on what the Warriors do. Nothing was good enough, ever. And then when they thought they had him up 3-2, Chris Paul hurts his hamstring, and the Warriors come back in that series, missed 27 straight threes. Thank God for Klay Thompson in Game 6. But yeah, no matter what, Steph Curry's always going to prevail against the Rockets. And then, remember, God, one of my favorite moments. Remember we went to Schroeder's to watch that Game 6 with Warriors and Rockets? That's maybe my favorite non-playoff non-championship playoff win, where they didn't have Kevin Durant. He just got hurt in the game before. And then Steph Curry not scoring any points in the first half. Him and Klay Thompson just take the heart out of the Rockets. And then they had to retool. They trade away James Harden. They got rid of Daryl Morey. They bring in Ime Udoka. They have this young, defensive-oriented team. And then they face Steph Curry in the first round with Jimmy Butler. And, yeah, it looks like they're going to lose again.
They still can't get by them. It's so funny.
I know. I think I was listening to the same thing. I think someone had a snippet of Locked On Rockets, and some guy was like, I hate Steph Curry. I hate him so much.
Yeah.
And I completely understand that. I totally understand that. But also, like, if you're just a fan of the NBA, I don't know how you could hate Steph Curry. Did you see the analogy that Bill Simmons put out there today? Or the other day?
A little weird.
Yeah. Bill Simmons, known for his weird analogies, he compared NFL players who throw the ball before they score to like men having orgasms where they're not thinking straight. They're just like, oh, sorry, I just couldn't think straight there for a second. Yeah. He compared people that hate Steph Curry to people hating blowjobs.
Yeah.
Now look, I love me some Steph Curry. I'll take the other one instead.
Yeah. I could picture Bill Simmons in his younger years, maybe when he was a womanizer, going around in college and experimenting a little bit, and then just giving like podcast takes to the women that he was with. Like, I think he could be like kind of a top 5 missionary kind of guy.
It's a pretty good impression.
Like I think he really has a chance to do that. I really do. I really think you have a chance to be that way. We'll do it the next time. Here's Pearl Jam.
That was good. Yeah. Have you seen what's his name? The guy from Austin, Texas. What's his name? Daniel Goodwin or Godwin? Have you seen this comedian that
yeah.
He does great stuff where he takes like sports personalities and he'll do Bill Simmons being like, all right, good day today, but we had the Great Depression. Peter Schrager's with us. Peter, what do you make of this?
Yeah.
Or the best ones are when he's like, okay, so we got World War II going on. And Peter, what do you think of this Hitler guy?
Yeah.
Well, thing about Hitler, he's a big movie buff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where does he rank among all-time dictators? I think he's right up there. He's kind of past Mussolini and almost in that little Vladimir Lenin stage.
Okay, but as far as Warriors and Rockets, we'll air out our grievances with Dylan Brooks. But me and Steven were both at the game last night, but Steven couldn't be bothered to hang out with me in the old United Club. He had to go sit in the media section with the other media snobs.
I was very happy to do that. It's my dream, Derek.
Your dream to sit in the media section?
To sit in a comfortable chair with a bunch of space, no one around me yelling, just being able to focus on the game. I got a little iPad with the stats in front of me. I got my laptop there. I got my water bottle. I got the media press room wherever you can get yourself a drink or, as you saw, a little bit of ice cream.
Yeah, I thought Steven was I noticed he was going to the concession stands. I texted him, pretzel? I thought he was carrying a pretzel. I think Steven misinterpreted my text and was asking if I was asking him to get me a pretzel.
I thought it was an odd request. I thought you were asking me to come meet you and get a soft pretzel at halftime.
Well, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
No, but
It's
sorry, go
sweet, man. I love it's like they got the Warriors do such a great job of accommodating. I think it would be disrespectful to not take advantage of it, Derek.
I completely understand. I had a little bit of the pregame media food on Saturday night, but then I went to the Little United Club because I want to cheer. I want to be a fan, and I know that you can't do that when you're in the media section. Not a good look. So, and also you gotta get a chair ahead of time and tell Warriors PR you're gonna be there, and you never know. So I just thought I'd just go to the United Club and watch with the fans and cheer on because I really can't restrain myself during a Warriors playoff game. But let's talk about last night. Warriors win 109-106, and Jimmy Butler came back. And it was trending in that direction. Chris Haynes had the report that he was coming back. Steve Kerr kind of downplayed it in the pregame press conference, being like, he may come back. And we all were expecting that. What I didn't anticipate was they would change up the starting lineup. And I thought maybe they would start Quinn and Post again, or maybe they would go small. They did go small, but with no Moses Moody. Instead, they had Buddy Hield. And I guess I haven't really noticed it, but yeah, I definitely agree with it. Moses Moody has been having a rough time in this series up against Alfred Şengün. So, yeah. And honestly, right decision because Buddy Hield was awesome last night. And I laugh when Steve Kerr said it in the postgame. No one has ever said this statement before, but Buddy Hield set the tone defensively, and he did. A couple of steals, 15 points. I know he's had more offensively in his time as a Golden State Warrior, but just as a complete game, that's the best I've ever seen of Buddy Hield. So kudos to him. Kudos to Brandon Podziemski. I've been clamoring for him to do more, and when I say more, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. I just want to see, I guess, more offensive production, and he gave that last night with 26 points, 6 threes. Brandon Podziemski had a signature playoff moment, and Stephen Curry, was amazing in game 3, putting up 36 points, but he looked, human last night, and it was good of Brandon Podziemski to step up and Jimmy Butler to step up. Even though Jimmy looked not 100% early on, I think Dylan Brooks talking shit fired him up, and you saw him score 14 points in the fourth quarter. I'll get more into some of the cons of the game, but overall, I mean, the Warriors, they survived the Rockets' best effort offensively. Fred VanVleet was amazing last night. Alfred Şengün couldn't have been stopped. Quinn and Post, Kevon Looney, Trace Jackson Davis, all 3 bigs cannot contain this guy. But in the end, the Warriors found a way because they're just the more experienced team and they're the better team.
And the coaching staff. I think Steve Kerr and Jerry Stackhouse deserve a ton of credit for all those reasons you mentioned. I mean, it's not Steve Kerr who got Brandon Podziemski going. Podziemski did that all himself, but credit Kerr for actually playing Buddy Hield, where if you were to base a lineup off social media, then Buddy Hield wouldn't be getting any playing time at all.
Yeah.
People would be sitting him on the bench for the entirety of the game, but credit him for knowing that they needed a little bit of scoring. And I really thought the game flipped when Hield stuck in the game with less than 4 minutes to go. And he ended up getting the go-ahead 3-pointer to make it 102-101. That was massive. I think that vindicated everything that Kerr was doing. And not to mention that late turnover where I think it was Hield and Payton who just completely shut off VanVleet behind the 3-point line. And then it was an overthrown pass that turned into a turnover. And my favorite thing of the game, Derek, was the penultimate play, the second to last possession, where the Rockets had their chance to maybe take the lead with the Warriors up by 1. And it was just like a perfectly executed play because we're all looking at Alperen Şengün and saying that he went ISO on Draymond. Well, it was the Warriors that forced him into that in the first place. It was all a mix of everything. It was Gary Payton sealing off VanVleet so that he didn't get behind the screen so he couldn't get open. It was Kevon Looney sealing off Steven Adams. So Steven Adams had a little trouble getting that rebound because if Kevon Looney wasn't there, Steven Adams is getting that putback. I have no doubt about that. And then there's Draymond Green, who's one-on-one against Şengün. You're right. Şengün was having his way last night, and he's a really good player. I've come away very impressed with him in this series, and I understand why there have been comps to a Marc Gasol type with his game, just his ability to use his body, his post moves, his passing, his rebounding.
Definitely looks like him too.
He has the build. Yeah, you don't want to go, you don't want to go comparing European players just because they're European. Sorry, Kyle Brandt, but it really is like it reminds me so much of.
He looks like him in the face too, though. Let's be honest.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But it's like that pace of play that he has, it's just it's that style. So respect to him, but going one-on-one against Draymond, he had no chance. And I mean, I thought the second half was a lot better than the first half because my God, the first half it didn't feel like a basketball game. At least in the, not the first half so much because the first half the Warriors went on that run where it was like 16-2 to open the game. And it was the second quarter that really stalled any possible momentum that game had going into halftime because, God, that was brutal.
And that's what the Rockets needed to do with Jalen Green calling out Draymond Green after Game 3 and saying he's all talk, he doesn't do much. I love that Draymond started the game off with 2 threes to basically say, like, I do more than just talk. I play defense. I make threes from time to time. I'm a good all-around player. But then, he didn't make any shots for the rest of the game. And that doesn't matter. That's not Draymond Green's game. We'll get to Draymond Green a little later. But, yeah, when the Warriors had all of the momentum in the first quarter, I thought they were going to run them. I thought that starting small was going to benefit the Warriors where they were just shooting threes. Even Steph didn't get off a three, but Brandon Podziemski was knocking down shots. Buddy Hield was knocking down shots. And I thought it was going to be a long night for the Rockets. And then Fred VanVleet comes back, and he was incredible, and he's been the best offensive player next to Alfred Şengün in this series, minus Jalen Green's 38-point output. But last night, he reverted back into being a pumpkin once again. I mean, I don't know. This Rocket team is just fraudulent to me. Like, I respect Ime Udoka. I respect Fred VanVleet. And Alfred Şengün is becoming a very good player. But besides that, they're not a very smart team. They're a very inexperienced team, and I think that you saw from Jalen Green with Draymond Green, they were trying to get into the Warriors' heads, and Dylan Brooks knew that, all right, now I need to be the agitator. Now I need to be the asshole to get into their heads and to stifle them, and any momentum they have, we're going to knock it down with our physicality and just being jerks. And you saw that from Dylan Brooks. Like, we know Dylan Brooks from Memphis. This isn't anything new. He was part of, pushing GP2, broke the code, which the Memphis Grizzlies mocked, which I thought was ridiculous. Even Taylor Jenkins mocking that I thought was bullshit. But, he pissed off his own teammates. I remember in Memphis. He called out LeBron James in that series and, what did he do? Like, he tried to punch him in that series. Didn't he a couple years ago, Steven?
I don't remember if he tried to punch him. I just remember that he said that if LeBron goes one-on-one with him, that he's going over, and then LeBron proceeded to score 40-plus points or whatever it was on the Grizzlies.
Yep, I remember that. And then that offseason, in free agency, or they may have even just released him. I don't remember what happened actually with him in his free agency, but goes to Houston, and now he's pulling this shit again. And he has his history with the Warriors, I just mentioned with GP2, but he has no respect for anybody. So his antics last night, him getting mocked by Steph Curry because he has 2 fouls, he felt the need to grab the ball away from Steph Curry. Like, God, this guy's act is so tired. And I thought it was ridiculous that Steph had to be hit with a tech and Draymond have to be hit with a tech in that situation. But whatever. I mean, as Steph Curry said in the postgame, it's the typical little brother thing where you get punched by your little brother, parents didn't see it, then you see the retaliation, or the parents see the retaliation, and then you get in trouble. But then Draymond falls on top of Tari Eason and has his legs dangle on his head. And it looked like, I think Draymond initially thought that Tari Eason was trying to pick him up, but no, Tari Eason's like, get the fuck off me. And then Draymond's like, you get off me, and kicks him in the face. But I thought it was a very creative way by the referees to keep Draymond in that game. Because once that happened, I was like, damn, he's gone. It's gone. That's 2 techs. He's gone. They get him with a flagrant, and he remains in the game. And he had to deal with 5 personal fouls for the majority of the second half. Steve Kerr let him go to the bench for a good deal of time in the third quarter, and then came back in the fourth quarter. There was actually one point, did you notice this, Steven, where Draymond was called for his 5th foul, was walking to the bench, and I think everybody thought that he was walking like he was leaving, as if like he got hit with another tech. Steph Curry jumps up and down. He's visibly upset because he's pissed off that Draymond potentially got thrown out of the game. And Draymond nonchalantly, like in the postgame, was like, I can't change who I am. I'm not going to temper my actions because I have 5 fouls. I need to play full on. But also, Draymond's the type of guy on his podcast that will call out somebody for fouling out too early in a game. So while Draymond says he needs to go 110%, at the same time, Draymond has restrained himself. He hasn't clapped back at Jalen Green in post-game comments, and he's hasn't retaliated to the point where he has been thrown out in a game. I just worry about that for the next game where Dylan Brooks knows they're on the cusp of being eliminated and he wants to get in Draymond Green's head. But, yeah, I thought the antics of the Rockets last night were – it just makes me dislike them even more. Like every iteration of the Rockets, whether it's James Harden or this group, they're just a dislikable bunch. And maybe, it's mainly Dylan Brooks. And I also – it's kind of hypocritical because I'm asking myself, would Draymond Green do the same thing if someone did that to him? Probably. He probably would. But you have to say that Dylan Brooks is nowhere near what Draymond Green has accomplished in the NBA.
I think that Tari Eason and Dylan are the 2 main reasons why we don't like the Rockets. I think Amen Thompson, look, I don't think that was intentional what he did to Jimmy. I don't really have a problem with Amen Thompson. I just think he's super athletic and sometimes too athletic for his own good, where he's just doing whatever he wants on the court without even thinking about it. But it's Tari Eason throwing the towel in Pat Spencer's face in game 3 in game 2. It's the antics on the sidelines. It's Dylan Brooks, who's just been this way, a thorn in their side forever, because he can't do anything else. He's actually he could be a really talented scorer at times. If he tried focusing harder on that, then maybe they'd actually be able to win the game. But I'll tell you this name we brought up, and I don't really think it's that big of a story. Maybe it's not. I don't think a lot of people really care too much about it, but I think this Rockets team just does not have a finisher. Şengün is great. Şengün's awesome, but is that really the guy you want to go to when you're trying to finish a game and all you're going to do is have him post up? No, you want a guy who is going to be able to win his one-on-one matchup from beyond the perimeter, have everyone move out of the way so that he can go one-on-one behind the three-point line with whoever. And that player needs to be Jalen Green. This dude was taken 2nd overall in the 2021 draft, and this was when he was meant to take that leap. Derek, this is what we talked about in the preview before the series, is what's Jalen Green going to look like? Is he going to have that one game where he looked outstanding against the Warriors and then the rest, he was just nothing, just invisible? It turns out that that's what he is. And now we're seeing a lot of this from, say, the Rockets Reddit account. It's pretty simple. Trade Jalen Green. That's it. And they're done with him. They're done with him because he's obviously come up to that eligible rookie extension period. And I think that this is a time where Rockets fans are really going to be calling for Jalen Green to get traded for Kevin Durant. And I think this series kind of solidified it. And Durant's already been linked to the Rockets. And I think Jalen Green will be involved in a trade package if they want to get that done. And I think this series has kind of solidified that. So even though the Warriors have absolutely just stifled Green into the point where he's just losing confidence and all he can do is talk trash. Like, I don't, you said he's trying to get into the heads of the Warriors. I don't think he's trying to get in the head of anyone. I think the Warriors are in his head and all he's got is words. Like, I just think he's got nothing, man.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't. No, I mean,
it's sad because he's so talented, but I think he falls into that category of player that Austin Rivers was talking about that don't watch film. That just rely on their talent, because he was not ready for this series. Şengün was ready. Thompson, to an extent, was ready. But Jalen Green, who's meant to be their superstar, the guy that they were building around, he was not ready. And I've been just extremely disappointed in what I saw from him because I think he's a really good player, but he just doesn't have it. And it's crazy that the Warriors keep doing this to those guys that are almost 2 decades younger than they are.
Yeah, and Jalen Green's too busy watching holes, apparently.
Yeah, right.
Digging up them
watching
holes. Digging up. Yeah, I wasn't saying so much Jalen Green is trying to get into the heads of the Warriors. It's more so Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
Like he realizes Jalen Green's suffering and they're down 2-1. He's like, all right, I need to go overboard in this game. And I bet you he's going to try to do it tomorrow. I bet you Dylan Brooks is going to try to do something to get Draymond Green kicked out of the game or possibly suspended. That I think is on the table, where Dylan Brooks realizes we are outnumbered, we are outmatched. I need to resort to some bullshit in order to get some of the best players on the court out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm with you, Steven. Alfred Şengün dominated yesterday, but yeah, there needs to be somebody else taking that last shot. And I'll give credit to Quinn in post. He made a couple threes, better offensive output than the 2 points he had on Saturday night, 13 points. But yeah, the bigs on the Warriors are just getting eat up by that guy. And I don't really know if there's really much you could do there. But Draymond Green, like just a comparison of Dylan Brooks to Draymond Green.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Brooks is not doing what Draymond Green did to close out that game. That's an all-time defensive stop. We're not even that surprised because Draymond Green is that guy. He didn't win Defensive Player of the Year, but that is just incredible by Draymond Green to get up in Şengün's face and get that stop and have Jimmy Butler make that rebound. And I know a lot of people are going to say, like Steve Kerr has been on record saying he's the best defensive player he's ever seen as far as playing the game of basketball. And I think there's been better defensive players in the history of basketball, but I think there's nobody that has been as clutch as Draymond Green to get a stop, to get a deflected pass, to get a rebound, to get a steal. There's been countless moments in the regular season, playoffs, where Draymond Green's one-on-one with somebody and he makes the play. So you can tell me that there's been better defensive players in the course of history, but I don't think anyone has been as clutch as Draymond Green. And that's why you put up with the bullshit. He's done a lot of stuff that I cannot defend. I cannot defend his actions against Jordan Poole. I cannot defend him choking out Rudy Gobert. I cannot defend him stomping on Sabonis. I cannot defend even what he said this past year about Karl-Anthony Towns and him being scared of Jimmy Butler when he was missing a funeral. I cannot defend those things. Mm-hmm. But you have to respect Draymond Green and his game for what he does. And I don't think you can say the same thing about Dylan Brooks.
I'm on the opposite of that. I mean, not the complete opposite. I don't think Dylan Brooks at all is comparable to Draymond. But I do think Dylan Brooks is a good defender. I do think that. I know that he has resorted to essentially trying to injure guys or get guys to get fouled out. But Dylan Brooks is a pretty good defender, and that's why teams keep employing him. There's a reason they do that, and they deal with all the bullshit that comes with it on the court. It's the same with Draymond Green. Like Dylan Brooks, for all the shit we give him, he is able to guard on the perimeter, and he's a little different from Draymond in that regard. But in that moment, in that critical of a game where like that was pivotal, dude, that game 3 or game 4 rather. I mean, you go to Houston tied at 2, you don't know how the series is going to go. Just having 3-1, that luxury of playing with house money. Yeah. I don't know if Dylan Brooks is making that. I don't think Dylan Brooks is making a stop like that. And yeah, you're right. It does not absolve Draymond of any of his past transgressions, but he put on another clinic yesterday. It's crazy too, because we always talk about how with injured players, like, well, wrap them in bubble wrap, wrap them in bubble wrap. That's the old cliche. Well, Draymond literally is wrapped in bubble wrap, basically. I said literally and basically in the same sentence, but he's on the sideline. This dude has like a heat pad or an ice pad wrapped around his back. He's got 2 big pads wrapped around his knees. He is literally wrapped in bubble wrap, and he's still making stops like that. It's remarkable. And then there's Jimmy Butler, who came in and grabbed that rebound, just flying in, just getting that one little extra. Why are you distracting me? God damn it.
Come on, Jesse, get out of there.
Seriously, she goes out. She goes to Ulta because she's got to return some product, and then she's taking a video of me in the window as I'm spitting this hot fire.
Yeah, I know. My man's cooking here. Come on.
And there's Jimmy Butler who flies in for the rebound, even though he's not 100%, and they said he could miss 2 to 3 weeks if this was the regular season. Just crazy, man. It's that piece of experience, that little playoff. Just, hey, we want it more than you do. And that's what the Warriors are showing right now. And I'm also not convinced, unlike Draymond Green, I am not convinced that a team would win a championship with Dillon Brooks. I'm just not. I can call him a good defender, but I can also say that he just doesn't have the discipline enough to where he's going to be on a championship team.
No, definitely not. When you saw that he fouled Jimmy Butler on a 3-point shot that pretty much gave them the victory. And now Draymond Green has to make that play, but that contributed to it. Like, he is definitely not a scrub. Like, he is a good defender. I'll give you that, Steven. He's been established in this league. And you saw it on during the Olympics. He made Team Canada. And like, I'm watching that documentary on Netflix where he's with his family. I'm like, this is a good guy.
Yeah.
But then, like, he turns into something else when he plays basketball. You're like, God,
Dillon Brooks.
Yeah, Villain Brooks. That's great, actually. I just can't root for this guy, and especially when he's going up against my team. But even if I was watching just objectively and not even a Warriors fan, I'm like, fuck this guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just had, like, he walks around like he's been Defensive Player of the Year. That's like, he is a good defender, but he has not accomplished things that he talks shit to LeBron James and Steph Curry. You're not even the same class as these guys, bro.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
So, as far as like Warrior villains in the past during the playoffs, obviously LeBron James is the main one, but LeBron is arguably the greatest of all time. I mean, I think that Michael Jordan was number one, but a lot of people would have him there. So you give respect to LeBron. James Harden won MVP. Russell Westbrook, same thing. These guys were annoying. You don't like their style of play, but at least you respect their game. Pat Beverly, I think, would probably be the closest one, just because, as I said, I think last time on this podcast, I once upon a time called Pat Beverly a punk-ass bitch. And, you know, who am I to say that? But there was a time where he was annoying, and, I mean, still is kind of, but where he tried to injure the Warriors, and he was talking shit where the Rockets going to be that next team that dethrones the Warriors in the Western Conference. I never liked him. But then when he joined the Clippers, I gained a little more respect because I was like, actually, this guy's a pretty good defender. So he's up there. Tristan Thompson actually fighting with Draymond Green in the offseason. I'm trying to think of everybody else, but I would say Dillon Brooks amongst the crew of villains that the Warriors have faced. He's probably low on the list, honestly, as far as talent level.
Yeah, no doubt. And he hasn't proven anything. Like, at least with the villains that you're talking about, they've been established in some regard, whereas Dillon Brooks has just only relied on his teammates. He's never been that main guy. I mean, James Harden would be the one I'd think of immediately too, but that was just because of his play on the court.
Yeah.
That was just because he was always a free throw merchant searching for fouls, and you didn't like his style of play. But in the end, you felt like there was an actual respect there, a mutual respect with the teams. I could say wholeheartedly that the Warriors, though, if you're looking at like a villain that they don't like, that the team collectively doesn't like, I think Brooks is number one, man. I haven't seen the team hate a specific player like they have with Brooks. Kerr's taking shots at him. Jimmy Butler, he's only been here for 2 months, and he's saying that he doesn't like Dillon Brooks. Sure, he likes the chirping and getting competitive, but he didn't have fun while he's doing it. He hates Dillon Brooks. Draymond obviously feels some type of way about him. Steph Curry's never going to say it publicly, but you just know he despises Brooks. I just think that if you're looking at it from that standpoint, then he might be number one.
I think so, man, because it was telling. Jimmy Butler during the game saying, "You're a bum, you're a bitch," and then Dillon Brooks just laughing, not having anything to say back to him. It was funny, though. Did the referee actually, did you see that whole sequence where Jimmy's saying this to Dillon Brooks? He's dead ass serious. The referee intervenes. I think he's saying to Jimmy, "Are you not calling me that, right?" And Jimmy's like, "No, no, no. I'm talking about this guy right here."
That, by the way, I did not realize that ref, I can't remember his name, is it Bill Jefferson?
I couldn't tell you.
He has the mustache. I think that's his name. I don't know. Bill Jefferson, ref. No, that's wrong. It's not him. God, damn it. I can't remember his name, but he has the best on the mic moments for a ref whenever he's announcing what just transpired on the floor, announcing the technicals. And they didn't have him doing any of that last night. I was extremely pissed.
Is that the guy that Kalena and Fitz go crazy over?
Yes. Like, I mean, I'll just search up the video right now with Dylan Brooks and Jimmy Butler, and there's no live video. Why can't I find a live video? There we go. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let me search it up here, Derek. This is going to take a little bit. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I'll just. Oh, you got it already. Okay.
Yeah, here we are. So, yeah, this guy, this dude.
Oh yeah, no, he is the best. Yes,
he's the best. And you don't have him announcing the fouls. I was so mad when I realized that was him.
I know. I could barely hear it too over the booze last night when Steph Curry was getting a tech. But yeah, it would have been better to hear from him.
As soon as Steph got the tech, you had no clue what
loud booze. But yeah, I mean, Jimmy, like for what he was saying to Dylan Brooks during the game and then post game, he definitely did not pull any punches. When Monty Poole was asking him about Dylan Brooks, he was like, I want on the record, I don't like him. And I don't have fun competing. I mean, like I he's a competitor. I compete against him, but it's not fun. I don't like that guy. And Steph Curry restrained himself, but when he was asked about the whole altercation, he was like, yeah, like Marcus Thompson having fun with him as usual, being like, so I guess you could say you become a villain now with taunting players. And Steph's like, I have no comment. Actually, I do. That was so lame. So yeah, they don't like him. It's evident. Like it's just the lack of respect that he has for other players. Like you could be competitive, you could be feisty, you can get into fights, but still there's like mutual respect between players on the court. It just feels like this guy doesn't give a fuck about anybody except for himself. I think his own teammates find him obnoxious.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also wild to me that he is now this figure because I think I've said it on this podcast multiple times, but still remember him on that Oregon team because, now buddies with Tyler. Tyler's an Oregon fan, and every time they're on, we're texting back and forth whenever they're playing in March Madness. And he went to the Final Four 2 years in a row with JYOM. And I'm watching those teams. I'm like, who's this guy with the funky hair who's just always knocking down threes? Oh, that's Dylan Brooks. And now he's morphed into this figure, into one of the most hated. It's a wild transformation. I still can't get over it. It's like the first time I saw Miley Cyrus turn from Hannah Montana into the Wrecking Ball girl. Wild.
That's quite the comparison there.
That's just me, Derek. That's just how it was in my life. It's two transformations that I remember being shocked by.
Okay. I guess that's like a better comparison than people that hate Steph Curry is like hating blowjobs, like Bill Simmons said.
It's a little weird.
Very weird. Wasn't Miley Cyrus naked on that Wrecking Ball?
Yeah.
That's quite the transformation.
Yeah.
So Warriors are up 3-1, and Game 5 will be tomorrow in Houston. So 2 questions for you. Would you say the series feels like it's over? And what's your confidence level in the Warriors closing it out tomorrow?
It's pretty high. If you had to like rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at like an 8.5 right now that they can close it out tomorrow. I do think this series is over. I think there's been 13 teams that have come back from a 3-1 deficit, and I don't think the Rockets this year are going to be one of those teams. I just don't think they have the firepower to do that. Not saying they can't win tomorrow. I think they can certainly force a Game 6, but I highly doubt they're going to lose this series, knock on wood. And I actually like this version of the Warriors better, though. I enjoy watching this. I know we're kind of in this era of appreciation, right? Where we're trying to not take for granted watching guys like Steph Curry and LeBron James compete. But if I'm looking at it from a pure basketball standpoint, I enjoy much more watching the Warriors compete against these younger guys and showing them that they still got it. and you don't have this best friend attitude that you could possibly see in the next round. And really what I'm getting to is I'm very excited for a possible Warriors and Timberwolves series if that happens, because it's just so much more fun watching that type of game as opposed to one where, sure, it's, you watch a Steph versus LeBron battle and they go shot for shot. That's really entertaining, but there's something extra when it's these younger dudes trying to prove themselves. And the Timberwolves actually have a guy in Anthony Edwards who is, and we didn't even mention this guy as a Warriors villain. He kind of is. He's like more of an NBA guy because the athletic player poll again rated him one of the most overrated in the league, but it's also Rudy Gobert. They do not like Rudy. So I am very much looking forward to that series if it happens, and I think it will.
Yeah. As far as my confidence level,
where are you at?
As far as my confidence level in tomorrow, I do think the Rockets win. And I hate saying that. I would love for the Warriors to close it out in Houston tomorrow, but it's just a quick turnaround to go back there. And really, like, I know some people were thinking like, oh, you're playing with house money if you go up 2-1 at home, and then you could see what happens in game 4. I'm like, no, you need to go up 3-1. You need to win your home games. So now they're playing with house money. I don't think the Rockets are the more desperate team. So they're gonna try to stay alive, obviously, and go all out. And Dylan Brooks is going to antagonize the Warriors even more. And you might see a 30-point performance from Jalen Green. But I'm not worried about all that. Like, if they win tomorrow, okay, then they have to fly back to Chase Center. I think the Warriors crush them on Friday, and they end this thing. I just think, like, in recent years, for whatever reason, it's been hard for the Warriors to close out series, even at home. They pissed away a game against the Sacramento Kings in a game 6 that had to be a game 7. They had a hard time closing out the Los Angeles Clippers their last season with Kevin Durant, where they were up 3-1, went back to Oracle, and lost that game and had to go back to LA to close that series out. Even when they were facing the Memphis Grizzlies and they had a 3-1 lead there without Ja Morant, they go back to Memphis, get beat down, I think, by 50, and then they go back to the Chase Center and close the series out. So I am anticipating that the Warriors don't close it out tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised either way. But I think the Warriors, I think it's going to take a hell of a whole lot for the Houston Rockets to come back in this series. They just don't have the star power, honestly. They don't have a superstar to get them to win this series again, to tie it up in a game 7 and then win that series. It would take something catastrophic. I don't anticipate the Rockets coming back and winning this series. Now, I do feel more confident in the Warriors winning tomorrow than I do the Timberwolves. Let's be honest. It would be awesome to see Anthony Edwards versus Steph Curry, but if it's up to Adam Silver, he wants LeBron James versus Steph Curry.
Right.
So I'm not saying the referees will take a hold of this series, but maybe tomorrow they will. Maybe LeBron James gets a ton of calls. So the best thing is for the Warriors to close it out tomorrow and then have the Lakers and T-Wolves keep playing. But yeah, I'm with you, Steven. I think eventually it's going to be Warriors and T-Wolves the next round.
Yeah, I think so. I'm very confident that the Warriors are going to close this thing out. I just think they're in the Rockets' heads, and unless they get, a 25, 30-point game from Jalen Green, I actually don't think the Rockets stand a chance tomorrow. I think it's on Green's shoulders there, and this could really maybe solidify it. Because, look, dude, I can't get over it. I just couldn't get over that Jalen Green was sitting out with under 4 minutes left, and instead they were going with the double bigs when they needed scoring. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's all you need to know about that team, and I would not be the least bit surprised if they attempt to trade for Kevin Durant. Although if I was Kevin Durant, I would want no part of that team. Even though he has respect for Ime Udoka, there's not a lot of offensive firepower. They got great defense, so he can go score and they can help him out. But if I'm Kevin Durant, I want to go to Minnesota and play with Anthony Edwards. That's where I want to go.
Interesting.
And if it is Warriors and T-Wolves, God, I think the Warriors will win that series. And even though the Warriors have had the upper hand against Minnesota this season, Anthony Edwards is a different type of cat, man. And, we know the history where Steve Kerr kind of told Anthony Edwards he needs to be a little more aggressive And Anthony Edwards took that to heart. And there'll be a ton of trash talk if it's Draymond Green versus Anthony Edwards, and he will not back down. Anthony Edwards, he's not as villainous as he is in the movie Hustle, but he could play that character in real life too.
Yeah, he's been waiting for this. It's what he's waited his career for, is to play the Warriors, the dynasty, when he was growing up into the league. So I think it would make for a really, really entertaining series. And I actually don't even like that matchup as much as the Lakers. I almost like the Lakers matchup more because I just see a fatigued LeBron and a Luka that can't play defense, and a JJ Redick who looks overwhelmed coaching.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, where the Warriors lack a size, they make up for it in three-point shooting with Steph Curry, and they can play defense. I wondered about the lack of size with the Lakers, and LeBron and Luka are awesome, but they need help with bigs. So, yeah, I do think that it could be the end for the Lakers here in the next couple of games. As far as the other games around the playoffs for the NBA, the Nuggets and Clippers are playing right now, and that seems like the best competitive series right now going in the NBA. Tied up 2-2, and got Aaron Gordon getting that shot off the last second to win that game the other night was incredible.
Yeah.
The Pistons just won tonight to force a game 6 against the Knicks, so they'll go back to Detroit. You see the ending of Pacers and Bucks? So the Pacers win in 5. I think I got that one right.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's unfortunate because Dame Lillard tore his Achilles in Game 4, and I don't know when he's coming back, and I don't know about his career going forward. And it's just sad. A dude from Oakland, and he got traded to the Milwaukee Bucks with championship aspirations, and God, they have just not been the same team since they won the championship a few years ago. They fired Budenholzer, they hired Adrian Griffin, then they hired Doc Rivers, and they just look like a worse team right now. And it sounds like Giannis may ask for a trade request in the offseason, but before all that, Tyrese Halliburton's father, when they won the game tonight, got in the face of Giannis and wanted to fight him on the court. And good on Giannis for restraining himself, but that's got to be fucking embarrassing for Tyrese Halliburton. I know he addressed in the postgame, and he wasn't going to grill his father, but God, that's embarrassing. I mean, come on now. That's like, Jesus. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I know there's a lot of overprotected fathers in sports, but like, to get on the court and you want to fight Giannis? God, that's I have a hard time talking to my dad after that one.
Yeah. Even Gary Payton doesn't do that. Gary Payton, one of the meanest trash talkers in NBA history, maybe the meanest.
The glove.
And he doesn't do anything. I guess there's like this video going around where he was when Giannis was shooting free throws, he's holding up like a towel with Tyrese's face on it and waving it all around. It's just embarrassing, man. It really is.
No, I agree. And everybody's asking, like, what the fuck? That's nuts. Why was the dad on the court? He just got on the court after they won the game. He walked on the court and got into Giannis's face, and Giannis like goes nose to nose with him. And
well, it looked like they were shaking hands at first. I think Giannis like wanted to make peace, but it looked like his dad kind of instigated it.
Yeah, it's nuts. If I was Tyrese Halliburton, he could play it off like, oh, that's my pops. He's supportive of me. No, that's way too much. That's just ridiculous. You should never get to that point. And I don't blame Tyrese Halliburton. It's not his fault. Like, same deal with like, people are coming down Jeff Ulbricht's road. Not to go off on a tangent here, but like saying like he should get fired for his son going into his iPad and making the prank call to Shedeur Sanders. I understand it's a bad look, but just because your son acts like a jackass doesn't mean that should reflect on you. So I don't think he should lose his job over this. I think they just probably should have better restrictions from outside, people, I guess, or like civilians not working in the NFL should not see anything when it comes to prospects' phone numbers. I think that whole narrative of Jeff Ulbricht being fired is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Derek, just a random thing. I'm not kidding, but before, when I was writing out my list of top 5 figures in sports who would make for the best pope,
yeah,
Giannis was one of them. And so
Okay,
I
I can
might
see
have
that.
to go with another honorable mention here. But I think the way that Giannis responded post game, he answered this for 3.5 minutes. I just want to play like the first 20 seconds
Yeah.
or so, because this dude is just, I don't think there's anyone who gives a better post game press conference than this guy. Maybe Steven Adams, because Steven Adams just absolutely plays into that New Zealand thing. But because he's from New Zealand, he doesn't play into it. He's just being himself, which I respect.
Right.
But then there's Giannis, who answers questions like this.
Everything. Just what happened kind of out on the floor after the game?
Nothing. This is the last time I'm going to say. I won't talk a lot. That's the game. It doesn't really matter. One thing I'll say is that I believe like being humble in victory. That's how I am. Now there's can be a lot of people out there that are like, no, when you win the game, you got talk shit, and it's a green light for you to be disrespectful towards somebody else. I disagree. I've won the championship. They haven't. Okay, and that doesn't say anything. I'm not trying to minimize their effort, but I remember when I won, my mom that she's never missed the games from February 11th or 13th when she came in Milwaukee. Because they never missed a game. When we won the championship, I remember my mom, she was scared to cross. She was like, am I allowed to come and hug my son? I see, except now my brother does media. For this year, he wants to come back and play. But like, except in that, you've never seen my family like see courtside. See, this is not something that we do. We don't. I try to keep my family away from the game. But losing the game, emotions run high. Having a fan, which at the moment I thought he was a fan, but then I realized it was Tyrese's son, which I love. Tyrese, I think he's a great competitor. He was his dad, sorry. Coming in the floor and showing me his son a towel with his face. This is what we do. This is what we effing do. This the F we do. This. I feel like that's very, very disrespectful.
Yep.
Dude, Giannis, I love Giannis because he gives great inspirational quotes in press conferences.
He's always very thoughtful.
Yeah, extremely. And like through the years, like he's just honest and relatable. And like when he talks about like like loving Oreos and milk and eating that as a late night snack, but then like
or even
like
last year, right? When they lost and they asked him if the season's a disappointment, and just the way that he his perspective, I think it's just very refreshing among this world of athletes where it feels like they don't really have much of a perspective, aka Saquon Barkley getting pissed at people for calling him out for playing golf with Trump. But I think that like it's a breath of fresh air whenever you hear him talk. Danny Golding TV is very right. He has a calming voice.
He does. Yeah. And also he could say all that stuff and be goofy at the same time where like he'll, like what do you talk about? Like how many games, like it was a quote from a couple of years ago, but he dropped like how many games have we lost like that? 69? I like that number, man. I like that number a lot. Yeah. Or then like when he's like thinking about like how the Pacers beat him all the time, like you think about it. When you go home and you sleep at night, you think about it. When you go home and get freaky at night, you think about it. So he's just funny. I like him. I hope he doesn't demand a trade because I think he can still win in Milwaukee, but I can understand why his patience would be low. But then again, I don't think he's that type of guy that would demand a trade. Given all of his press conferences and how enlightened he is, I do think he would probably not be that demonstrative, but I don't know. Sometimes you just get tired of the same losing over and over again. It's not like he's been losing nonstop. He has won the championship, but yeah, they definitely are not keeping up with other teams in the Eastern Conference right now. So
you still feel like there's rings to be had with Giannis.
Definitely. So. No, definitely. Speaking of which, with Saquon visiting the White House today, or not visit, well, we played golf with Trump. The Eagles visited the White House. Jalen Hurts opted out of that. Did you hear Trump talk about Saquon Barkley with the Giants?
Yeah.
Like we did this bit today on the show where on while he's giving this speech and talking to the Giants. He's like, or talking to the Eagles. I told the Giants, I told them, you don't want Saquon to leave. That's a bad move. I told them that. And I called it. It was a bad move on their part. And come to find out, not that I'm surprised or anything, but I guess some people inquired about if Trump ever actually talked to the Giants, and they're like, no, we never spoke to him about Saquon once. So we were having fun today where Trump, like he does it a lot lately, where like the Dodgers come to the White House. Shohei Ohtani's going to be good. Mark my words. Mark my words.
Lately,
Mookie Betts. I didn't like that trade from Boston's perspective. It's like him having revisionist history of everything, being like, I told Pete Carroll, give the ball to Marshawn Lynch on the 1 yard line. I told him not to throw it. He did anyway. What are you going to do?
you're saying lately?
Well, always. But just in sports, though, he acts like he knows everything more than everybody else.
He's
I know
the worst type of fan.
I know.
The worst. Where you say that you predicted that, where you knew that was going to happen. I knew it. I knew it all along. I knew that the Giants should have let Saquon go. I knew it. It's ridiculous.
Yep. Yeah. No, we were having a good riff today on that.
And when I say like Saquon's lacking perspective, it's not the idea that he played golf with the president. It's not the idea that he did that, but it's his response to it. It's like, dude, get a grip.
So what did Saquon say?
He said, some people are really upset because I played golf and flew to the White House with the president. Maybe I just respect the office. Not a hard concept to understand. Just golf with Obama not too long ago and look forward to finishing my round with Trump. Now you get out of my mentions with all this politics and have an amazing day. I'm sorry, but if you're playing golf with one of the most divisive human beings that's ever walked this earth, then you are going to get called out for it. You can do whatever you want, but just know you're opening the door for that. You go to the White House with your team, whatever, they're put in a really odd position because the White House invites them and it's the highest office. But if you're actually going to play golf with him like he's some buddy of yours and you're surprised by the pushback, I don't have any empathy or sympathy, whatever it is for you, man. Sorry. You open the door for that. It's like if I posted on social media and said Taco Bell is the best Mexican food out there, and then people call me out for saying that I don't know anything about cuisine, then I should expect that because I came in with a pretty strong stance there.
Yeah, but you're expecting people to clap back at you in that situation. I think Saquon's a little naive where he thinks, I'm just going to go play golf with the president and not expecting people to have a reaction to it. I don't think he's like, there's a lot of people out there that just go with the flow of him being the president and only think about his policies and don't think that them doing like a public thing with him means that I agree with his policies. I don't think that's what's going on here. I think Saquon just views the presidency as an honor and wants to golf with Obama, wants to golf with Trump.
Sure.
If that's how you feel. That's how you feel. But I agree with you to an extent, Stephen. You're going to get backlash for it. It happens. Trump is a divisive human being. It's better just Saquon to just ignore it and just, if you want to do it then.
Yeah. Like it's fine. It's the same like Jalen Hurts is going to get called out for not going to the White House.
Exactly. Yep.
Same thing. I'm sure Jalen Hurts knew that was coming and was willing to take the pushback. Like, did you not know that your mentions were going to be filled with this? When you're saying that it's not a hard concept to understand, it could be a fairly hard concept to understand for some people when this guy has been doing what he's been doing over the past 100 days, which is wild.
Yeah, it's been 100 days.
It's been 100 days, my friend.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, no problem with the notion of that. I just think, hey, man, grow up a little bit and realize that this is what happens in the world of being a sports figure. Like, this is what goes on.
Yeah.
It
does. It does. Moving on to some football. I did not think this was going to happen. I thought that on the 49ers offseason priority list, it was Brock Purdy. And then we'll see about contracts down the road. But I didn't think they were going to sign back George Kittle. I didn't think they were going to sign back Fred Warner. And it's clear now that they have cornerstones of this team that they want to keep in place. and give contracts to, while everyone else could be possibly interchangeable. So at 4:30 this morning, is that when this news broke? That's crazy. It's always funny how what time news breaks, like when, like who dictates that. And then I guess it's East Coast time, so 7:30 in the morning for Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter and Diana Rossini is not that big of a deal. But then again,
it's busting with the boys, Derek.
Exactly, that's the thing. It was busting with the boys. It was Will Compton and Taylor Lewan who broke the news. Did George Kittle appear on their podcast and told them, or they just got the details?
No, they just got the details and they tweeted about it.
As they should. But I also don't like that Adam Schefter, Rappaport, Diana Rossini, for whatever reason, didn't credit those guys as being the first to report it. It's kind of like a Jordan Schultz situation where they're like, they're not insiders. I don't respect that.
I think Schefter did.
Did Schefter do it?
Yeah. I don't think Rappaport did, though. And then Compton responded by saying Rappaport can meet me in the A gap.
Okay. But yeah, George Kittle gets a new deal today. 4 years, $76.4 million, $40 million guaranteed. So annually, he makes the same amount as Trey McBride, but given the guaranteed money and the worth, he's the highest paid tight end in all of football. And he deserved it. I mean, he had a great season a year ago. I know he didn't get first-team All-Pro when it comes to tight ends because Brock Bowers had an all-time rookie season. But yeah, he balled out, and he should be a part of this football team. He is synonymous with the 49ers. He is, extremely positive and a leader, and you want that around. So, yeah, going forward, I think that the Niners want to have, their team comprised of Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Trent Williams, and Fred Warner. And those will be the guys that will always stay on this football team until they realize they're not playing at the same level anymore. And I think also this deal means that it's positive that this Brock Purdy deal could get done relatively soon here, because I think they're not doing this unless they know that they're getting a deal done with Brock Purdy as well. Mm-hmm. And if he was the priority, and I mean, obviously a tight end deal is significantly less money, but yeah, this happened first, and I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of days here we see something from Brock Purdy. So, yeah, all good by the 49ers. And now he's going to retire and be there for over 10 seasons. And I think right now, I love Brent Jones, but I think you have to say that George Kittle is the best tight end in 49ers history. So good on George to get the deal.
Yeah, man. You're paying for just so much more than a tight end. There's levels to this with what you're getting in Kittle. I mean, are there, possible injury concerns? Maybe, but Kittle's always played through that. The highest paid tight end is like not much of an investment that you have to make in the grand scheme of things. Paying a guy $19 million a year for what he does on the field, like it's really not that much with just how valuable he is.
Exactly.
With the investment, I think it's absolutely worth it. And I would have been shocked if they didn't sign him. And that's something going into the offseason where I wondered, okay, George Kittle on an expiring contract, Kyle Juszczyk possibly leaving. Like, what's that run game going to look like without your two elite veteran blockers? And now you're bringing them back along with Christian McCaffrey, who's 100% healthy. Maybe this team does have a chance to surprise some people this year, and maybe their Super Bowl window isn't officially closed because Kittle's mindset is you can kick that window open at any time. So maybe that's where they're at. I mean, the defense is going to be a little suspect this year. Obviously, that news came out with Malik Mustafa, which we kind of touched on in the last podcast.
Yeah.
And you don't really have like another linebacker except for maybe that third rounder, which a lot of the analysts and experts are saying was kind of a reach to pick in the third
Nick Martin.
round. Yeah, Nick Martin had a little lower draft grade than a third round pick. So sure, that's interesting. But man, look, if Brock Purdy gets back to maybe his 2023 form, not saying they're going to average 30 points a game like they were that year, but you're looking in the high 20s, maybe. That's pretty damn good.
I think that if John Lynch and Jed York came out this offseason and said, I know we let a lot of guys leave, but we are going to build a team around the cornerstones of our franchise, I think it would have gone a lot better than letting Dre Greenlaw leave and Talanoa Hufanga and just the amount of names that were out there for free agency that they just let walk out the door. I think that if they said, yeah, we're building around Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams and Nick Bosa, these guys are staying on our team instead of just being like, yeah, we're building around Brock Purdy. That doesn't bring a ton of confidence because you don't want to just have a team just comprised of Brock Purdy and that's your franchise going forward. Like, no, you need star players around him. So this was the first step in that. I think signing George Kittle to a long-term deal means that they still want to win the Super Bowl. It's just along the way, some of the interchangeable parts are going to be different. And mostly on defense, it is going to be different. It's going to be a lot of rookies. So, but everybody else, that offense is going to be relatively veterans. And I am surprised that the offensive line didn't get more draft picks. They seem comfortable with who they selected. They did sign DJ Humphries today, but he's a little older, not the same type of player. Remember him from the Cardinals, played with a little bit with the Chiefs last year. We'll see if he even makes the team. But, yeah, I was hoping they do a little bit more on the offensive line part. Right. But, yeah, George Kittle being there, that bodes well for them for the future.
Rockin' New Era says here that Fred Warner is the new version of Patrick Willis, franchise player. You know what's crazy?
What's that?
Warner's already played more games in his career than Patrick Willis did.
So what was Fred Warner's rookie season? 2018?
20. Yes.
So
he's already played 115. Patrick Willis played in 112.
So how many seasons did Patrick Willis play? 7?
7 plus the 8th where he got hurt. So really it's like 7 and a quarter.
Yeah, so Fred Warner's closing in on the same amount of seasons as that's nuts. Yeah, God, time flies by.
He's already played more games.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that Fred Warner has had a Hall of Fame career compared to Patrick Willis, but that's pretty impressive.
He's on track, but that's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody would agree with me here. Tell me if I'm wrong, Niner fans that are in the chat. Patrick Willis was a Hall of Famer for the majority of his career. I wouldn't say Fred Warner has got to that level yet. I could be wrong, but I just don't. Nah.
Fred Warner, it was a rise for Fred Warner. I think Patrick Willis, you kind of knew.
Yeah, you expected it
after the rookie year. Like, oh, this dude's elite. Whereas, when you're looking at the Niners after 2019 or during that 2019 season, Fred Warner was kind of on the rise. Now he's known as the best linebacker in football, but Patrick Willis was kind of known as that, or at least second to Ray Lewis. Yeah, okay, Ernie, I get that he had the green dot, but Patrick Willis was unbelievable. Like, he was a first-team All-Pro, like the first few seasons, just nonstop, Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl. I mean, Fred Warner's great. I'm not trying to diminish what Fred Warner did. I can't believe you pigeonholed us into this point where we're trying to diminish his accomplishments.
I mean, yeah, come on here. Like, both players have been awesome, but Patrick Willis definitely had more of a Hall of Fame career in just 7 seasons than Fred Warner has so far.
Yes, but Fred Warner his durability is second to none. I think he's played in every game possible for his career, and he
played with a broken leg last year,
broken ankle. It's crazy. So there you go.
And I love Ernie too, sounding like my father here. Fred Warner with the green dots. It's his rookie season. Loves that green dot.
Yeah, loves that green dot.
You want to go Belichick or Derek Carr first, Steven?
Oh God. I guess do we go Belichick?
Let's do it. So I saw this before we hopped on Sunday, but we didn't have time for it because we were going through the Warriors and draft. But I watched a snippet of this. I think Dave Portnoy was the first person to put it on social media, be like, this is a fucking weird interview. And he's not wrong. If you play a little clip of it, Steven, I sent it to you in my DMs. If you were seeing CBS Sunday Morning, Bill Belichick sat down and talked about his new book. And along the way, his girlfriend is sitting next to him. And there was a lot of news to come out of this interview where, what's her name? Is it Jordan? Is her first name Jordan?
Jordan Hudson, yeah.
Jordan Hudson. So it's been well documented for a while now that Bill Belichick at 70 plus, 74, I think is his age, is dating a 24-year-old girl, and they seem happy together. And, you know, the age
they?
is very weird.
Do they?
Well,
Even before this clip, there was one moment where they're walking out from the University of North Carolina, and it's just weird. It's been weird, and this just magnified it.
yeah, I mean, well, there was the report that initially North Carolina was supposed to be the subject of the offseason edition of Hard Knocks. And Bill Belichick was all down to do it. But then they said no. And I think it had to do with Jordan Hudson just not wanting to participate in it. And so anyway, Bill Belichick sits down with CBS Sunday Morning to talk about his book. And they ask him also about his relationship with his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson.
You feel like you were treated with dignity and respect when you were let go by Robert Kraft?
Yeah, well, it was a mutual decision for us to part ways.
He said fired.
It was a mutual decision.
The other change for Belichick is 24-year-old Jordan Hudson, his creative muse, as he writes in his book.
The hell?
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No.
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on, though Hudson has recently posted about it on Instagram.
You joined InstaFace, as you put it. I love that. There's some great pictures of you and Jordan where you're a fisherman and she's a mermaid. It's charming. It's a different side of you. What's the reaction been like?
What's it been like?
To have these different sort of photos. There's another one where you're doing, I know you're not into meditation or yoga or Pilates. You're balancing Jordan on your feet. She's doing kind of the Titanic pose.
Yeah, so I'm on some of those social media platforms, but I honestly don't follow them.
What he
All right.
Oh man, that's weird. That's weird. So I don't know what her deal is. You can have theories as why she said, I don't want to talk about this, of where they met and how they met. The whole thing's weird. It's definitely weird. I don't think, like, some people are like throwing out there like this is why Belichick could get back in the NFL because of this thing. I don't know. Who's to say? It's just weird. The whole thing was weird. You hear the reports that she interrupted the interview countless times, and CBS felt obligated to keep this part in there because they thought the interaction was weird. So, yeah. I mean, and also just the hypocrisy from one statement to another where Bill says, I never really cared what people think about me. And then, you know, the interviewer asks, how'd you two meet? And she's like, we're not talking about this. So you obviously care to a certain degree. But, yeah. I don't know what the hell's going on with Bill.
It's a little late life crisis, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with Bill, but also let's look at her. Okay, Bill Belichick's a Super Bowl champion. Whatever. He's over 70 years old. What's up with that? I think it's okay to have an opinion on it because you're out there. I think it's bizarre, man. Whatever. People do whatever they have to do, but I'm going to still say that it's strange, and I'm going to judge you. Sorry that I'm judging you, but I'm doing that because it's just weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like he's caught in a trap. Like, have you ever seen Belichick be controlled before?
No, and that's the weirdest thing is like he answers to no one. And you sent me the clip of Chris Mad Dog Russo.
Oh,
maybe we play that because his rant on about it is pretty hilarious.
All right, I'll cut it off after a certain point because he goes on for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
and maybe just the gold of it is him trying to set up this story and how he was quickly talking in that East Coast accent.
Yeah,
but this is Chris Russo at his best.
Going on here to talk about this girlfriend of his, and that's number two. And listen, I'll be careful here because I don't want to come across, but I've said this 1,000 times. I'm going to say it again. If Kira Russo came, and she's the same age, if she came home, Dad, can we hang out with? Can we go out to dinner with my new boyfriend? Yeah, all right, Kira, where do you want to go? Well, can we? It's got to be. We got to have the early bird special. Why we got? What do you got to watch? The early bird special? No, we got to have the early bird. We got to go to dinner at 5 o'clock. Really? It means well. If it means that much to you, Kira, we'll go out to dinner. We'll have a Manhattan, and we'll go out to dinner at 5 o'clock. If it means that much to you, and then she comes home. She gets out of the door, and the boyfriend is 10 years older than me. I'd say, honey, what are you doing here? And this, here's another thing. Do you think there is any shape, way, or form that Bill would allow a coach or a player or his mentor Parcells, a coach or a player, to wear high heels running to a football practice? Can you see Bill Parcells allowing an assistant coach or a player to go to the conclusion of a practice at MetLife with his young girlfriend who's wearing heels? Are you kidding me?
That's a valid point because when we were at the NFL Network, there's a field right next to the studio. You can't walk over that thing in high heels. It'll ruin the turf. So
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing's a weird look. It's a definitely weird look because Bill has answered to nobody through the years, and now he's being controlled by this 24-year-old girl, and the relationship is weird. I don't know how to describe it.
I'd say, honey, what are you doing here? And this.
Yeah, I agree. Or just the part where Russo goes, he shows up with a guy that's 10 years older than me.
It's the way he was setting it up too. Well, you want to go to dinner? Okay. What do you want? What do you want? 5 a.m. Okay. We'll
early
go 5
bird special.
Yeah, okay.
And she comes home, she gets out of the door, and the boyfriend is 10 years older than me.
Yeah, man. It's I mean, hey, let Bill live, I guess, but I don't. I just don't want it to be. Not to say that Bill Belichick is going to go down this road, but I get V. Stiviano and Donald Sterling vibes from this. And the last thing I want to see is just Bill Belichick just be on some other CBS show and just be like, I thought she liked me. I thought she really liked me.
She's his right-hand arm, man. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what's funny about that interview? I saw it before they get into the Jordan Hudson stuff. He asked the interviewer asked about his book, and he brings up like, in your acknowledgments, you don't have Robert Kraft in here at all. And then Bill just goes, correct.
Good luck,
Weird.
Tar Heels.
Yeah. I think he'll coach fine. I think they'll actually be a winning program this year. But if she's like on the sidelines with him during games, that's when I'll throw my hands up, be like, "What are we doing here, Bill? What is going on here?"
I like to picture her being like the new Connor Stallions, where she's like stealing signs from North Carolina.
Dude, can you imagine that? Good Lord! And they do like a Netflix Untold on her, like that. You know, they got a new one on Brett Favre, but then the next one will be Jennifer Hudson.
Oh man, Jordan Hudson.
Jordan Hudson, sorry, not Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer Hudson's doing the tunnel walks. Maybe there's going to be a Netflix Untold on that.
I will say, I love those things. Those things are fucking awesome.
They're great.
Everyone has like, it just makes you feel good, and like everybody in the crew comes up with their own special song for the guest. Everybody they're dancing. I like it.
I do too.
Those are good videos.
Look at you turning over a new leaf, kind of like Steph becoming a villain, enjoying something.
Yeah, I probably in my younger days, I'd be like, that's stupid. They're all just dancing before a show. Now I'm like, that's fun. But whatever, it doesn't hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm going to crap all over Derek Carr. So let's play that clip if you got it, Steven. I think I sent it to you.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of rumors about Derek Carr, and is he actually injured? There's a report out there that the shoulder injury is going to prevent him from starting the season potentially. But yet the Saints didn't draft anybody in the first round. They liked Tyler Shook enough to take him in the second round. But I think they feel fairly confident that Derek Carr is going to start. And I think even Mickey Loomis during one of his press conferences was like, yeah, I don't want to talk anymore about this because I don't know if he's buying it. The rumor is that Diana Rossini brought this up on Scoop City, is that people don't believe that this is legitimate. They think that this is his way of trying to get out of New Orleans. He doesn't want to play there anymore, so he's making up a shoulder injury. But then I'm like, well, why would you make that up and then have the whole league think you're injured, and then why would they trade for you? So Derek Carr's doing a sermon. I'm not sure where, but he's talking to a church about the rumors that he's not actually injured, and this is how it went.
It's in Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. Okay.
Yes, I have to say this. I hate that I have to say this, but I have to say this. Yes, I have a shoulder injury, despite what ESPN says, and what some lady on a podcast might think. Okay, I have an MRI report to prove it. The team knows about it. We've been in constant communication. There's nothing wrong. We're figuring it out, and we're going to go forward with that. Is that okay? And I've been dealing with this, and I've been dealing with people lying about me. I've been dealing with them saying this and that, and I'm like, Lord, why do I have to continue to deal with this nonsense? Like, what is going on? And I say that to preface with, you never know what someone's really going through. And so why do we continually try to attack people? And I would say attack people that are trying to do things maybe the right way. Why do we continually try? Why do we always have to have an opinion?
Well, I do think the second half, he makes a valid point about how everyone has to have an opinion on everything nowadays. And I know we're on the Just Your Opinion Man podcast, but I do think there's a valid point to be had there, but very bizarre. And Derek, real quick, I know you're going to get into a little rant here, but let me just help him out just in the background, because it sounded like he wanted an answer. It didn't sound rhetorical. Let me help him out. Hang on.
I hate that I have to say this, but I have to say this. Yes, I have a shoulder injury, despite what ESPN says, and what some lady on a podcast might think. Okay, I have an MRI report to prove it. The team knows about it. We've been in constant communication. There's nothing wrong. We're figuring it out, and we're going to go forward with that. Is that okay?
No.
And I've been dealing with this, and I've been dealing with people lying about.
Okay. Yes, he does have a legitimate point where people always have to have an opinion about something. I get that. But like, I don't know, like I felt like that was just lame to do that in a church setting. Like if you are a man of God, which Derek Carr is, and I always respected Derek Carr. Like maybe I didn't love him as a quarterback at times, but like the hate he got, like when Raider fans threw beer bottles at him, I thought, come on, guys, what are we doing here? But Derek has always hated criticism. He blocks people on Twitter. He's gone after Stephen A. Smith. He just doesn't like people talking shit about him. But though, like to give like some news about your shoulder and to call out Diana Rossini as like just some lady on a podcast in a church setting, I thought was lame. Like to compare it to what actual people are dealing with, like the reason why they go to church and why they look for faith in God doesn't have to deal with being $1 million quarterback and, oh, people are talking about if I have an injury or not. Oh my God, woe is me. Come on, dude. I thought that was just lame.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weak. Thought it was weak going to a setting where no one's going to question you or disagree with you. Yep. You could obviously speak. He's been speaking at church services ever since the Raiders were in Vegas, and like he's been doing that. But to come out with that instead of answering questions, I don't know, do it through a phone. You have social media. If you're so afraid of people like sharing their opinions, like just put it to bed. Go out there and pull a George Kittle, even though George Kittle's kind of seemed a little disingenuous because I guess he was, saying that his goal wasn't to be the highest paid tight end in the NFL. And I guess he was calling out Rossini on the hypocrisy that he's missing these voluntary workouts to hold out on a new contract.
But he ended up getting the deal.
But he got the deal and he was the highest paid by $100,000. Like, so there was a sense of truth in that. So her source was partly correct. But why don't you do that? Why don't you go on Twitter and respond through a video? Why do you have to do it in a church? I thought that was kind of weak. And it's like, if you're not, he doesn't seem comfortable, man. Like that's a changed human being. That's not a Derek Carr that I recognize. Derek Carr usually was very upfront, very forthright. And what I've seen is a guy who's just constantly deflecting. He's a good dude, but the optics are bad with this one.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't really defend it.
And with Kittle, do you think like just sometimes like players don't like the way things come across when their agents tell these insiders something? So while it is true, just Diana Rossini saying he's demanding to be, not demanding, but he wants to be the highest paid the highest paid tight end in football. And George Kittle's like, I don't want that.
Okay.
And then his agent's still like, no, but that's what I'm trying to get for you. And he's like, well, it doesn't make me look good.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. It's all semantics. Like really their agents are telling the insiders that stuff. And George Kittle's like, I don't like the way that comes across. Makes me look like a dick.
Yeah, I would like more though if, it's like, get him, George. Get him, Kittle. It's like, well, okay, what's correct then? Just your source is incorrect and leaving it at that? I don't know. I don't consider that dunking on a reporter for doing their job. I know these guys hate him, but that is what it is because it ended up happening where you got $100,000 more.
Exactly. And you know what? I don't know if they hate him because at the end of the day, these guys, Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Shams, Jeff Passan, it's not just owners and coaches and GMs. These players talk to these insiders as well. So they can act like they hate him, but they're really spreading more information. So I don't know. One day I would love to understand the process of how the insider game works. But alas, that's why people talk anonymously so they don't have to reveal their sources. And it's just quotes at the end of the day. So, All right, Steven, let me get your replacements for the Pope from the sports world.
These are my top 5 figures in the sports world who would make for the best Pope. Unfortunately, we had the death of the Pope, so they got to find a new one, and they are holding a conclave at this moment.
What music is this?
It's from Conclave.
Did you see this movie?
Yeah.
Good?
We enjoyed it.
Okay.
But these are my top 5 figures in sports who can make for the best Pope. And, I forgot to do this. Hang on. 1 second. I forgot I had this link open, then I closed it.
Yeah, Ernie Two's like, are we having a Pope mock draft? It seems like it.
It's basically what we're doing, but I think like these people in sports would make for the best Pope. Now, the definition of Pope and the job description is to make decisions on issues of faith and morality for Catholics throughout the world. But I think these sports figures embody the most faith and morality and represent that in the world of sports. Okay. So we're going to go with that.
All right.
Number 5, Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck has that look of a Pope, doesn't he? Can't you picture that with the glasses? Oh, I forgot to do my honorable mentions. Whatever, I'll do the honorable mentions at the end.
You can do that before you reveal number 1.
But Andrew Luck has this Pope-like presence about him. Just the way that he talked about the game, the way that he got hit. Nice hit, man. I think he'd absolutely make for a fantastic Pope. Jeez, this music is much more.
Yeah, I know. This is a very grim and suspenseful.
It is
segment.
It is. So number 5, Andrew Luck. Number 4,
okay,
Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker. Maybe it's because the prerequisite, if you actually watched Conclave, was these guys have to be balding just a little bit. John Lithgow, Stanley Tucci, Rafe Fiennes. Excuse me, it's Rafe, not Ralph.
Sorry.
Rafe Fiennes, and pretty much every other actor except for the supporting actress who got an Oscar nomination, whose name's escaping me right now. Bald is kind of a prerequisite. I didn't really go with that, although Andrew Luck kind of balding. Dusty Baker is too, but who doesn't love Dusty Baker? Like, whatever Dusty Baker has to say, we listen. So I think Dusty Baker would make for an excellent Pope. Do you agree with that?
I agree, and I will say just a quick story. The other night, actually, it was a few weeks ago. It was Giants opening day. John Curley gets us into the Hotel Via, go up to the top floor, and Dusty Baker comes through. We're like, oh shit, Dusty's here. Dusty sits down, and Curly's like, Derek, Dusty Baker, right over there. We got to talk to him. I'm like, he wants to be left alone, dude. I don't need to bother Dusty. He goes, no, come on. It's Dusty Baker. We got to talk to him. I'm like, you go with Marcus to talk to him. I don't feel like bothering him. He goes, okay. Jesus. So then Curly walks over to Dusty, and he goes, John Curly. He goes, Dusty Baker, John Curly. We've been trying to get you on KMBR for a couple weeks now. What's going on, man? And Dusty just goes, KMBR? You motherfuckers keep blowing up my phone all the time.
That sounds like a Pope.
Yeah.
I think you make for a good
Very
Pope.
Pope-like.
All right, number 3. Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is one of the good guys. Do you see the respect that he commands when he steps in the batter's box? Not just from the pitcher, because he's going to go yak. But beforehand, first step out of the game, goes up to the manager, tips his cap. Manager pays their respect. I know this is decorum of the Japanese, the Nippon Professional Baseball League. I understand all of that, but I think Shohei would make for a fantastic Pope. I know there's the language barrier.
Well, also this. A Pope wouldn't gamble or have a fall guy.
That's not confirmed. That's not confirmed. And this goes against everything that popes have to be balding, because Shohei Ohtani has a terrific head of hair. So can't go with that. But
well, let's not act like some popes aren't corrupt. You know what I'm talking about?
It's true. We need to have at least one. So maybe Shohei can be that guy. Smile on the outside.
Jesus,
on the inside. Yeah, it's
good
great.
Lord.
I'm feeling it now. I feel really
okay,
good.
you're into it.
Number 2. This is purely just for the name, but Jimmy Butler. Who wouldn't want Pope Jimmy III?
Yeah.
Pope Jimmy III. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. That's
so
perfect.
Just the name alone.
For all we know, there is going to be a Pope Jimmy III. It's just not going to be Jimmy Butler. But the guy's also philosophical. He's actually turning into one of my favorite press conferences. It's just whenever he answers a question, he has a simple answer, but it feels very profound, everything that he says. So if I think you're going to uphold the idea of popes being into faith and morality, I think Jimmy Butler would be a good one. But number 1, I have a number 1 because he has the look, he has the attitude. It would be Ernie Johnson.
Ooh.
Ernie Johnson, I think, would make for the best pope if you're looking at everyone across sports. When we're having a moment of tragedy, when we're having a moment of celebration, there's nobody I would rather listen to than Ernie Johnson. He always finds the right words to say. And I think Ernie Johnson would be the number 1 decision to be a pope. I think everyone would vote for him, quite frankly. So that's my list. Number 1, Ernie Johnson. So number 5, Andrew Luck. Number 4 was Dusty Baker. Number 3, Shohei Ohtani. Number 2 was Jimmy Butler. And number 1 was Ernie Johnson. Honorable mentions, I had Giannis was up there, but I'd have Giannis was up there, but I also had Keon Coleman for the comedic aspect.
Okay.
Hey, what are we doing up here? Then and also
is he wearing like a yellow sweatshirt?
Yes. Yeah. I got this thing from Target. Then Adam Silver is another honorable mention. Just
he's
because
very Pope-like. He looks like a Pope.
Yeah, you could picture him easily in a Pope outfit. Actually, he has a lot of looks for the bald guys, but I've also heard the best comparison for him on the Levitard show, saying that he looks like the hotel or the elevator operator at a haunted hotel.
I can see that as well.
Yeah, with
or
like
Gollum.
the
Let's be real.
The hat with the strap, and it's like to the side. You know. Yeah, I think Adam Silver. So those are my top 5 sports figures that could be best for to be the Pope.
Ernie Johnson as the Pope would be hilarious because he would just be like, Pope Ernie Johnson here trying to get through this sermon, and then you just like hear like from the pews like, oh man, this this going on for too damn long, Ernie. It's like, I'm trying to wrap it up here, Chuckster. I'll try my best.
And here we have a photoshopped picture, Chuckster. This doesn't look very good. Oh, totally taken.
Now, some people in the chat are saying Bob Myers, Steph Curry, Greg Papa. He's not Pope-like by any means.
I went back and forth with Steph, but Steph's very sneaky. You know, I think we're getting. I think we get a big a genuine version of Steph, but I think there's one behind closed doors where you know that this dude is kind of like hardcore.
Okay, all right.
Actually, he is kind of a pillar of faith and morality.
Yeah.
Anyone in sports. Maybe Steph should have been one, maybe over Shohei, but I just can't get over just Shohei's attitude. Also, I wanted it to be different because everyone always chooses Steph Curry for everything, and we talk about him nonstop in this market. And I'm talking about it as if we're in a market with this podcast.
Well, I mean, kind of. But why are you tired of him?
Not tired of him, but I just think it would be going too far to say that he should be the Pope. I try to be a little more creative than just, hey, Steph Curry.
What about Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning would be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd be a jokey Pope.
He definitely would be.
He'd be the salt of the earth type of Pope, a man of the people. Pope
but also he would be like the type of guy, like he would be the endorsement Pope. He's like, you do a better impression than me, but like, all right, everybody sit down. So today's sermon is brought to you by Papa John's and Bud Light. Also listen to me and Eli on the Manning Cast.
If you need help on car insurance, just go to Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. Yeah, that would be the hymn. Everyone, please join me in the hymn of our people. Nationwide is on your side.
People are saying Kerr doesn't seem Pope-like to me. He just seems like a good dude, but I can't say Steve Kerr is any way, shape, or form religious.
But if we are going top 5 figures in sports who could be the president of the United States.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think we'd go with Kerr there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I actually like Andrew Luck as a sneaky pick for Pope.
No, that's good. No, that's good because he's taking over now as GM of Stanford football, and he'd be a very goofy Pope. What would that sound like, Stephen?
Everybody got around. We are going to read a little book here. It's what we call the Bible, and let me bring up my second Pope, my vice Pope. This is Jack Doyle. Say hello to Jack, everybody.
Jack Doyle.
Say hello to Jack, everybody. He would make a good one.
Yeah, he would.
I don't even know how popes sound. I wish I could do an impression so I had something to go.
Well, they're all Italian.
They are,
aren't they?
Yeah, not. They have been, I believe. I don't know the facts on that.
You seem so confident that you ended with, I don't know the facts on that at all. Just making up shit.
I kind of am. I'm saying which figures in sports would make for a good Pope, for God's sakes.
Yeah, early ones here. Like, not all of them are.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair. Should probably know that.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, I think that's going to be it for tonight because we're going to be right back here tomorrow once Warriors and Rockets goes final. We got an early tip at 4:30. Wow, I never thought that the Warriors would be playing a 4:30 weekday playoff game, but with them playing in Houston, the time difference, I guess it makes sense. 6:30 tip there. So yeah, and now we just got to get to our TVs at an early time tomorrow. But we'll be back tomorrow night as soon as that game goes final. We'll see if the Warriors eliminate the Houston Rockets or we have a game 6 on Friday night. And Steven and I will be back on Sunday after that, and hopefully there isn't a game 7. We'll see what time it is if it gets to that point, but I highly doubt that. So we hope to see all you guys here tomorrow to review the Warriors and Rockets. And we'll be back on Sunday as well before Steven goes off to Austin, or Round Rock area. To everybody in the chat, thanks to the Skills Report. To wait, what was this by Skills? Boys, when JYOM ends, if you don't do anything, I'll never tell you again. Look up Dalton Catch versus. Okay, this is for the chat. Okay, no, I thought that was a message for us. But love you, Skills. Thanks to Skills. Thanks to Rocka New Era. Thanks to AJ Cruz. And we're not Catholics, AJ Cruz. I'm sorry. Well, I guess I'm half Catholic. To Ernie One. To I saw Otis Bird, Edison Zoo, Danny Golding TV, Pat H, who, by the way, Pat H is a perfect 10-0 at Warriors games this season. We saw him at Harmonic before the game. Every time he goes, they win.
Wow.
I think that's it. No tacky tonight. All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow after the Warriors and Rockets game 5 goes final. Steven, say what you always say.
Betting odds for the next Pope, Pietro Parolin has the 34.8% probability of being the next Pope when the conclave rolls out on May 7th. What are you shaking your head? You don't know this? Should have had Robert Saleh up there. He'd make a good Pope.
Yeah, he looks like it, actually.
He looks like a Pope. All right, that's just our opinion, man.